Hey there, thanks for watching. This video is going to be about why I think that I'm going to be a success this time around. So I was kind of looking back through my planners. You know, I'm a huge planner nerd. Like I have like tons of planners, and the reason, like, these are super, super helpful and useful for me, and the reason why I keep them from year to year is because I find such tremendous value in looking back at things that I've done year over year. And especially like things that you're successful and great and you keep doing them, but especially I find that I learn the most through failures. So it's especially useful and interesting to me to go back and look at the times that have been more difficult and more challenging to me, and to see what I did that A, that was good, but B, that I wish I could have done better. So I'm looking back, especially, that's kind of what I thought I would do. I'm looking at 2016, and this is a plum paper planner that I got, a special order. I got my name, and so it's just like, it's the horizontal layout, so it looks like this. A week looks like this, and then there are monthly tabs with, sorry about that, like with spaces for birthdays, and I think there's like a monthly planning, like like a month at a glance plan that looks like that. So if you are thinking about getting the plum paper planner, this is what it looks like. I will probably never own another one of these, just because this was not my favorite year in the past 5 years at all. But I do find tremendous value in looking through, especially the years that were painful, to say, hey, what can we do different? What was good and what was not so good? So this year was a challenge for me, both personally and professionally, and they definitely intertwined. I think the professional would have been easier to bear had I not had the personal kind of compounded on top of it, but together they just did not work well. So what happened was, this was a very... The company I was working for at the time was a marketing company, a direct-to-consumer digital marketing company, and I loved it. And the people to this day, I was there 2.5 years, and I had such a great experience. Everyone I worked with there was fantastic. Like, there weren't any bad people at that company. And if there were, they didn't last very long. And if they were, like, maybe a little bit more challenging personality-wise, it was because they had, like, other things going for them. But, I mean, there weren't any jerks at that company. So, which has not always been my experience. So I learned so much at this company, but this year, so I started in 2015, and then that year, 2016, was a little more challenging because I was having to respond with reporting and requests and learning technology and sort of the way that analysis, like on the fly, quick data analysis. And I can do detail-oriented work, and I can be very detail-oriented, but that's not my natural strength. I'm not very a granular person by nature. I tend to be more of a big picture person. Like, some people can just like hear numbers and they stick in their head. Sometimes that'll happen, but most often it will not. So this job was a challenge for me in that respect. I loved the interaction with our customer team and with the clients, and that was exciting. Kind of trying to brainstorm ways to improve was exciting too. But what happened was the numbers weren't working out, and then people started to question me directly, and I was the only person that was like working on reporting day to day, and I would have to I would get into the office. I would get in early at like 6:37 and just spend 2 hours running reporting and checking reporting and making sure that it was all right to be sent out by 9, because we'd have to send it out within 4 hours of the data sources refreshing. So the data sources opened at 5. So I'd have to have it out by 9, and this was sent to like the top executives, and I was the only one doing it, and there were like 8 different reports, so 2 programs, 4 reports. And it was like the kind of thing where if you missed an email correction, your report was off and you would get questions about it. And you were getting, like, the volume of emails, I was getting at one point maybe 50 or 60 emails a day. So if like one person sent one email correction about one part of these 8 reports that I was running at 6 in the morning, like, I would miss it, and I would get questions. So this was kind of the mindset and the culture that was going on, the environment that was going on. And people were super, super nice about it, but they would get irritated that I was missing these things in this like barrage of emails that I was getting. So when like it's all fine if you're hitting your numbers, but when you don't hit your numbers, they start to question, they start to wonder. And this was just one part of my job. There were maybe 6 or 7 different parts of my job. I had to interact with like our sales agents. I had to interact with the client directly. I had to interact with our operations team. I had to interact with our IT team as they built things out. It was a very complex role. And I was like junior, like bottom of the roll. There were 2 other people ahead of me. So I felt like a lot was coming on me. And this was around September, October of 2016. And on top of that, there was other personal crap going on. Like, there was it wasn't a relationship, it was just interpersonal dynamics. And I felt like I was being like intentionally, ignored isn't the right word, but it was a situation I wanted closure to, and that wasn't being given to me. And I was so frustrated and like despondent, and I just kind of lost hope. So, and I spiraled down pretty quick. And when I say spiral, it got to the point where like I didn't so much want to get out of bed. Like I would think to myself, what can I do to put myself in the hospital so I won't have to A, go to work, and B, deal with this, something to take my mind off this personal situation that's happening. So that was what was happening in 2016. And that was a year after I had tried to get out of debt and gotten all like gazelle intense. So understandably, I just kind of went into survival mode, like just get out of bed. Like getting out of bed was a victory. Like you know, you got up, you got dressed, you left the house. Like that's huge. And I couldn't do that for like a week straight. In October, I couldn't do that. But the one thing that I was able to do was to kind of write down how I was feeling, and why, and like keep track of things. So I would write down the things like just little things like what I was wearing. So these are the 3 things that really helped me get through. Number 1, and I will say it all the time, like planning and having like a written plan helped so much, because just putting a pen on paper, even if you have no idea where you're going, it helped me to be able to write out like what time, you know, like during that rough week, like that was just a week that like just went to crap. But being like what time I got out of bed, what I ate, what I wore, who I talked to, what they said, how I was feeling. And sometimes if it's just like I feel like crap like 5 times, like that's what you get out. So just having a written plan helped so much. Number 2, talking with other people really helped. And number 3, reading things really helped. And at the time, like it was hard to concentrate, but I remember I would just kind of like sometimes I would watch YouTube videos, and that would really help just like calm me down. I would watch some budgeting videos, but it was more like lifestyle stuff, like people's day-to-day routines. And I found that super calming, just watching people like get up and like make themselves coffee or make dinner, you know, for their kids. Like there's one woman that had like a Disney lifestyle vlog, and just watching her like day to day was so calming to me. So that's number 3, is like being able to consume something that was like looking for ways to kind of ease myself back into the normal, and into the everyday world. So all that to say, these are the 3 things. These are the things that are like in my toolkit for getting through tough situations. And that's why I think that this time around that I'm like super gazelle is going to work. Because, you know, like the Thomas Edison quote, I didn't fail 99 times. I know 99 ways that won't work. So I've done 99 things that aren't work. And I will say, through those like 2 years that were tough, it wasn't like I wasn't moving. I was just kind of treading water, like maybe making like a minimum update to my loan. So, and that's another thing that I did just recently, kind of as I'm looking at the end of the year, I looked at the balance on the loan, and it's actually, I have the number right here. It is at $14,991 is my loan balance for the end of the year, which is exciting that I'll be under $15,000 due on my student loan. Super exciting. And I realized that even in those times that I wasn't super intense, I was still making forward progress no matter how small. So that's super encouraging. Even though it's not where I'd want to be, it's still a lot better than where I was, and I'm still heading in the right direction. I'm still oriented in the right direction. So that's why I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that I am going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's just a matter of when. And hopefully, if we all together kind of keep moving in the right direction and inspire one another, that when will be a lot sooner. So thank you so much for watching. By watching, you are totally helping me. So thank you so much. And let me know your reasons and why you know you'll be successful. So thanks again for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching.